everyone. I'm Setsuko Sato and welcome to English Conversations 2. Behind me is New York's famous Carnegie Hall, where the violinist Midori made her New York recital debut in 1990. A few days ago at the Tanglewood Music Festival in Massachusetts, we had the rare opportunity to sit down and talk with this 20-year-old virtuoso. We covered many topics, including the Midori Foundation, which she recently established to bring music and mutual understanding to children. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Considered one of this century's most gifted artists, Midori's extraordinary talents as a violinist was discovered at a very young age. Born in Osaka in 1971, Midori came to the United States at the age of 10. By the following year, she was studying at Juilliard with America's leading violin teacher, Dorothy DeLay, and had made her brilliant debut with the New York Philharmonic under Zubin Mehta. At 18, she made her New York recital debut at Carnegie Hall, where most musicians can only dream of playing. Although New York City continues to be her home base, she always looks forward to her next visit to Japan, her native land. Hello, Midori. Thank you for being with us today. I believe we're at the Saranac House up in Tanglewood. Mm-hmm. Could you tell us a little bit about this house?
Well, I'm not that familiar with the history of this house. I know that it used to belong to Sergei Koussevitzky, who used to be the music director of Tanglewood Institute. It used to be called the Berkshire Music Institute, I believe, and of the Boston Symphony.
Tanglewood, does it have any special memories for you?
Well, I've been coming here since '86, and it's a wonderful place to be. It's beautiful. We have a beautiful lake. We have lots of beautiful trees and flowers. We have birds singing, and we have a chance to listen to lots of great music, lots of beautiful music, and it's just a wonderful place to be.
It's also where you became an overnight sensation in 1986, I believe, during Bernstein's Serenade, where you broke 2 E strings and had to use 3 violins.
Yes, well, I did break 2 strings, and I did end up using 3 violins.
How did you manage to keep your composure?
Well, I didn't really think of anything then, except for the fact that I wanted to continue playing, that I didn't want to stop the music because it was so beautiful. And I just did whatever I could in my power to do so.
Well, I read somewhere where Erwin Rosen, I believe he's the lead violinist for the Philadelphia Orchestra, he said that he would have to practice, even if he practiced 3,000 years, he would never be as good as you are. How many hours do you practice?
Well, it really depends from day to day, but on the average, I would say that I practice about 5 or 6 hours a day.
Is that all? You usually just play all that at once, or?
Sometimes. Sometimes I do 2 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening, or 1 hour in the morning and 4 hours in the evening, or I split it to 3 different times. Depends.
Well, now that you've reached a certain level of maturity, not only in age, but as a performer, how will that affect your repertoire?
It doesn't really affect my repertoire. What it does affect is the way I play them and the way I feel about them. As I have more experience learning about the piece, performing the work, or any other kind of experience that I go through in life would affect my music.
Is there a process you go through in preparing a piece to make it your own in terms of interpretation?
Well, I would say that my interpretation will keep changing as I get older, as I go through experiences, and as I play the work many, many times. Preparing for a concert or preparing a piece takes a lot of work. It's not only just learning of the notes. We usually study about the work. We don't actually practice, play and practice, but we actually read about it. We study, and we study the structure of the piece, how it's written. We study other works that he's written around the same time. We study about the composer. We study about the history of the composer. We study about the style and the country in which he lived in. We do lots of things.
Just so that you can feel how he was feeling at the time that he wrote it.
Yes, and then to learn all these different things will always make the piece more interesting to play. And I learn a great deal by performing and working with different conductors or different pianists, because we all have different ideas about the same work. And our goal always is to play the work as a work, the best it could be played. And we all have different ideas concerning that. And to share those ideas are really educational.
Do you think it was more difficult for you being Japanese and having to master music that is inherently Western?
I wouldn't really say that. My childhood was surrounded by classical music. My mother is a violinist, and I used to listen to her practice.
You had to come to the United States suddenly at the age of 10 without really knowing the language. How difficult was it for you to adjust?
Well, I didn't speak a word of English when I first came to this country. And when I started going to school, I started going to elementary school as soon as I got here, and that's how I learned to speak. Unfortunately, really unfortunately, I didn't learn English as an ESL student, which means that I speak it as badly or, well, as well as American kids.
Well, you speak it very naturally, which is good.
Well, it is. I consider it one of my two first languages.
I'm assuming that the second language is Japanese?
Well, yes, that's one of the first two languages that I speak. I wish, though, that I studied more grammar. We didn't really do grammar in school, so I never learned much of grammar.
Well, how often do you go back to Japan?
I go maybe once every 2 years or once a year.
You also traveled extensively throughout the rest of the world. What country do you like in particular?
Well, it's hard to say one particular country, but I'm very, very fond of Israel. I go there once every 2 years or so to play with the Israel Philharmonic. And I think one of the reasons why I like it so much is because whenever we go there, all the artists who play with the Israel Philharmonic are invited to stay in the guest house. It's called the IPO guest house. And it's like staying in a 5-star hotel with all the services. And also like being in your own home. You can do anything you want. You can practice anytime you want. You can cook if you want. And you can do anything you want, really. It has a little garden, and it's really, you can listen to music anytime you want and all that. And then, if you want things done for you, they'll do it for you. Right. I mean, if you don't like to cook, they'll cook for you. You don't want to clean your room, they'll clean your room for you. It's just, you can do anything you want, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like it.
Total pampering.
Well, in a way, yes. And one of the things I like to do when I'm over there is to cook.
Right, that's a hobby of yours now.
Yes, it's one of my favorite hobbies.
You recently established the Midori Foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about what the foundation will do?
The basic purpose of the Midori Foundation is to bring the performing arts closer to the ordinary lives of the children. We have 3 basic programs. The first program would be for performing artists to go into schools and do a concert, lecture concert type for the children, exclusively for children. And the second program would be the making of videos, of course videos for elementary school kids. We would like to make 4 to 5 40-minute videos, in which we talk about arts education and music appreciation, and make it fun so the kids the kids would enjoy watching them.
Right.
We hope to raise enough money fast, so we can get going on that pretty soon. And now the third program would be involving the graduate students, and we'll have them go into schools and conduct a music appreciation class. We also do the program again in December. Also in March in India.
Oh.
And again in May in the States, and in June we start a program in Japan. I plan to go to Japan every year for 2 weeks just for the foundation purposes.
Wow. Sounds really exciting.
Well, yeah, it is. I'm having a wonderful time working on it. I love children, and I think one of the best things that could come out of this is a very natural cultural exchange among the children. Children are naturally interested about music. When I go out there, they know that I'm a musician, so they're interested in music, but they're also interested in the fact that I'm Japanese. And they will ask me about Japan. I'm talking about American kids. And on the other hand, the Japanese kids know that I'm living in the States, and they want to know all about American schools.
Right. Why did you decide to start the Midori Foundation?
Well, it's a long story. A couple years back, I graduated from high school, and I decided to take a couple years off from college. So, I didn't start going to college right away. And that meant that I had some extra time to think about other things. I also started communicating with friends that are Japanese but are living outside of Japan. Also friends that are living in Japan, American friends that are living in Japan and also here, vice versa. And I always thought that, wow, it would be so wonderful to be able to bring all these people together, to bring the American and the Japanese kids closer. And it seems like Japan is very influenced by American things. But, oh yes, they know the movies, they know Arnold, what's his name?
Schwarzenegger.
Schwarzenegger and all these people.
Right.
But what they really want to know is about their contemporaries. You know, what do they do in school? What do they learn in school? Do they, you know, for instance, there was a girl that asked me a couple weeks ago. And she said to me, you know, we learn a lot about America in our schools. We learn about what language they speak, and we take English as our second language and all that. Do they take Japanese as their second language?
Right.
I said, no, they don't. Some of them do, but you know, the second language, the standard second language here, and well, in the States is German, French, or Spanish.
Right.
And she said, no, why is that? Why do we learn about them? Why don't they learn about us?
Right.
And I said, well, it seems like you learn a lot about them, but, well, I said, tell me, what do you want to know about them?
Right.
Then I said, what do their schools look like? And I thought that, you know, it would really be so wonderful if the two countries could really understand each other a little better. I grew up in both countries. It's a wonderful thing. I know both Japanese and I know English. I speak both languages equally well. And, well, I thought it would be wonderful to be able to answer these questions myself to the children when they ask me.
Do you feel like you're more of one than the other?
No,
No?
I'm a good mix.
I'll agree with you there. How are you planning to fund the foundation?
We hope to receive donations from various corporations and individuals. It will be wonderful to be able to raise enough money so we can get started on the last two programs as quickly as we can. The first program will be starting in a couple of weeks in October.
You once said you loved New York City and couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Do you still feel that way?
I love living in New York. I'm never bored because there are just too many things I could do. I love going to concerts. I love going to opera, ballet, all kinds of entertainment.
Well, about your concert schedule, how many concerts do you play a year?
I play about 75 regular concerts, and I plan to play about 35 to 40 foundation concerts.
So it's a very heavy schedule.
In a way, yes, but I'm having a great time working on my foundation. We not only go to schools, to public schools, but we also have them come to our concerts. And that's going to take place all during the school hours. I invite them. We pay for their transportation. We pay for the rent of the hall. We take care of everything, and we just ask them to come and listen to us. We also go into children's hospitals and do other things like that.
Do you have any people lined up who you would want to participate?
Well,
other than yourself.
We can't even consider doing that at the moment. We would love to have as many performing artists as possible involved, but it costs a lot of money, and until we can get more donations, we can't really start planning on that. We have as an honorary trustee Zubin Mehta and Winter Marsalis.
Thank you very much for being with us today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you.